Okay, y'all. So I went to a funeral last week and it was crazy. A fight broke out, but that's not what I want to talk about. um, the really interesting part was during the service because the fight broke out at the repast. But during the service, I got there late, but I walked in and I noticed that it was a woman, preacher. I was like, okay, here we go. And she was talking about, the girl who had passed away and, how nice of a person she was, all that typical funeral stuff. And it was nice. But at the very end, she, because most of the funerals I've ever been to, they do an altar call or some type of like call to faith, or they want people to get saved, things like that, most funerals that I've been to. And so she started up her little thing and she was like, you have to believe on Jesus. And I knew that she was about to, wind up and, do that whole shtick. And so whenever someone says that, my ears perk up. Because I'm like, okay, what are they about to say? And y'all, why did she give a very good and thorough gospel presentation? Like, she didn't give any Bible verses by address, but she basically quoted, like, all the verses that I would use. I was like, wait a minute. And she basically just, quoted Romans 3:23 and Romans 6:23, and even touched on Ephesians 5, Ephesians 2, 8, 9. Touched on that and just went through the whole thing and like actually kind of like stood on the fact it's all you have to do is believe. There's nothing that you can do to earn your way to heaven, and she didn't like press on eternal security as much as she did about the fact that it's by faith alone. But she even said it. She mentioned it in passing. But when I do it, I try to be more intentional about homing that in because that's important. But she at least mentioned it. I was blown away. And this was at a funeral home, so I guess they tried to be as ecumenical as possible to accommodate all families. And she didn't have any particular thing on. She had this I don't know what they're called. They're not called shawls, are they? But it's like this thing that goes around your neck. And it's like a scarf, and it hangs down. She had one of those, and then there was a guy behind her who was trying to hurry her up because I guess her time was up, and he had the priest collar on. So I don't know. They could have been Methodist or Lutheran or whatever they were. But yeah, and so that's the reason why I'm talking about this is because this woman, probably not a Baptist, but even she knew the proper road to salvation. And it reminded me of my mom, because my mom, she's a Methodist. And she is a deacon in the Methodist church. And she gets up and she preaches and she considers herself a female pastor. And even though she knows that I don't agree with that and we can, respectfully talk to each other and, she doesn't mind that I don't care for that. But, we have our differences. We're individuals, we're adults, we're going to live our lives how we see fit. But even my mom, as a deacon in the Methodist church, she knows that you can't lose your salvation. And she preaches, when she talks to people and tries to get them saved, she's like, it's only by believing. You'll never be good enough. Our good works are as filthy rags. And, once Jesus saves you, then you're in his hands forever. Like the actual gospel. And that is why if someone is talking to you, if someone claims to be a Christian, if someone is holding themselves up as some kind of leader in Christianity, as someone who is holding themselves up as someone who knows something about Christianity, and they aren't even saved, if they don't even know that it's by faith alone and that you can't lose it, they are just completely reject everything that they say out of hand because they're a joke. I don't want to hear anything that you have to say about the end times, anything you have to say about creation, anything about anything about anything regarding the Bible. Your opinion is completely null and void if you're not even saved, if you don't even know how to get to heaven. Because when it comes to doctrines in the Bible, there are some doctrines that are more hidden, more difficult to grasp. You have to kind of really study and dig in the Word to understand them, and that's fine. The Bible is deep, and it's also very shallow at the same time. It's for everybody. And so when it comes to the shallowness of the Bible, things that are very easy to grasp and easy to understand, salvation is the number one doctrine. I would say that the only thing that it surpasses in easiness to understand is the deity of Christ. when it comes to doctrines that are obvious and just jump off the page at you, if you're not completely spiritually blinded, are that salvation is by faith and that you can't lose it. And then second to that is that Jesus is God. And so, these people have no excuse. If you think that you can lose your salvation, you have no excuse. Because there are women pastors up here talking about that you can't lose it and that you are eternally secure. And so if they can get with the program, you are an idiot if you don't know that.